What's up, everybody? It's the last regular season week of the high school football season. Gazette Sports Editor Eric Schmolt here with reporter John Barry, and we're talking titles.
Title, week 9.
Do you remember another time where, we've got kind of 4 major conferences here in our area, and with the Rocks South and North, the Southern Lakes, Badger South, Big 8, that's 5 technically.
5, yeah.
And we've got an area team in every one of those leagues that has a chance to claim at least a share of a title. You remember a time like that?
I don't, because in the last few years, obviously the Badger South, Monona Grove, who certainly has already clinched, but they've dominated the Badger South. Sun Prairie's won the last 2 Big 8 titles with undefeated records. So it hasn't come down to week 9 in those 2 conferences. The Rock, obviously, with Bigfoot controlling things for the last 7 years, 8 now. And Edgerton ran the table last year in the Rock Valley North, so they weren't challenged in week 9. So, no, this is kind of a new territory, so to speak, for these conferences.
Yeah, we're going to run through them all here, give a little breakdown. We're going to start right here in Janesville. You wouldn't know here because we're at a secret bunker, but we are here in Janesville.
Yes,
and,
we are.
Craig will go up to Middleton on Friday. Obviously, things changed a little bit with Shane Ellis out of the lineup last week, but Craig's still with a chance to share the Big 8 by going up to Middleton, which is the Big 8 leader with 1 loss.
Tough task for the Cougars. I looked at some stats earlier in the week, and Middleton comes in. They've allowed 10 points or less in 7 of their 8 games. Their only time they gave up more than 10 was a loss to Sun Prairie, which Craig beat pretty handily. So I guess in that sense, that bodes well for the Cougars. But I think when you're playing the conference's top defense on the road, and you've got a kid at quarterback that wasn't even on the varsity 2 weeks ago, and Nick Kramer, who did a commendable job in the second half. But when you go that route and you're playing for a conference championship, that's a pretty tall order.
It is. We'll see if they can get some magic going. They couldn't
you
really
never
get it. Maybe they find a rhythm.
And both of us didn't think they had much of a chance at home against Sun Prairie, and they dominated the Cardinals. So you just don't know.
True. Let's move on to the Badger South, where Milton. Kind of a similar situation. I was over there in Milton last week, and they just didn't seem to have the same fire that they had last week, or a couple of weeks ago when I was there, and lost to Oregon, and now they get a chance still to go up to Monona Grove on Friday night and claim a share of the Badger South. Another tall task with Monona Grove.
And you talked about it earlier. I mean, which Milton team shows up? Do we get the Milton team that showed up last year when they played Monona Grove and lost 14-7, or do we get the Milton team that showed up last week that lost to Oregon, and the Milton team that got destroyed by Monona Grove in the playoffs? So which Milton team are we going to see? Hopefully we'll see the good team. Hopefully you'll see the A team, because that's what it's going to take to go up there and beat the dominant program in your conference. If you want to share the title, the road we've said all along goes through Monona Grove, and it's no different Friday night.
Over in the Southern Lakes, you got an Elkhorn team that we didn't know if they would beat Badger last week. They did. They got a big win to secure a playoff berth, and now another tall task, but you go to Burlington, and all of a sudden the Southern Lakes Conference crown's on the line, and kind of an interesting showdown there, because Steve Tenhagen's still there now.
A big apology to the Elks, because I haven't believed them in all season. I think I've picked against them every time I've picked their games this year, but they continue to, I guess, doubt the critics, so to speak, and they did it again last week, and now their offense is getting on track. Their defense has been pretty solid all year. But now their offense is getting a little bit more of a rhythm, and
shook up the quarterback spot.
They're going to need it against Burlington, because Burling, which is hard to believe the quarterback at Burlington's last name is Burling, but he's been lights out passing the ball. So the Elks are going to have to find a way. Don't know if they've played a team with the passing capabilities of Burlington. So we'll see how the Elks respond.
Well, when they did, maybe it was Delavan, and that was on a rainy night,
right,
so that was a little different. And then of course an old matchup between Steve Lee and Steve Tenhagen and Tom Lee, sorry.
Yep. Guys have known each other very well and certainly know a lot about each other's teams and what they run and schemes and such. So a big task for the Elks, but like I say, they've met every challenge this year, so to speak.
Both divisions of the Rock Valley Conference title on the line. In the north, you got Evansville-Albany, which I thought probably should have beat Jefferson, and then they'd be in the driver's seat, but they still have a chance to clinch at least a share, probably with Jefferson. We assume I would think they're probably going to beat East Troy.
Yep.
But it's Evansville-Albany hosting McFarland on Friday night.
Yeah, and the Blue Devils are playing as good a football as anybody in the conference, either side. I mean, they've won, I think, 5 out of their last 6. Like you said, the one loss to Broadhead Judah was a last-second Hail Mary. The loss to Jefferson came on a controversial call. So the Blue Devils playing great football at the right time, and gave up a few points last week to East Troy, but Mr. Kuchenreiter has done that to a few teams, and maybe he can do that to Jefferson this week and allow Evansville-Albany, if they can get a win, to win the outright North title, which is something obviously Grovestein's done many times in his illustrious career at Evansville. And
in the South, it's the same two Titans, but Bigfoot's been on top this whole time. Can Broadhead Judah snare a share of that Rock South title when conference unbeaten Bigfoot rolls into town on Friday night?
I'm sticking to my guns. I picked Broadhead Judah to snap the 7-game or the 7-year conference winning streak for the Chiefs. They can't do that because Bigfoot's already clinched at least a share, but they could still get there. And I still think, on paper at least, and if you look at what they're lining up against down the road, I still think Broadhead Judah has the best chance of all of area teams to go the furthest in the postseason.
Well, and we'll see. Bigfoot, every time we've thought maybe they could stumble.
They're like Elkhorn to me. Yep, exactly. I mean, I feel bad, but again, I can't say enough of the job Greg Enns has done over there. I saw him against Delavan. They just looked out of sorts, like they were getting to know a new coach and getting to know a new system. But boy, they've been rock solid ever since, and really have played well. But a tough task for them on the road at a very big Broadhead Judah team that up front with Lincoln and Maurer and those kids really want to control clock and run the ball. And against Clinton, when they lost, Clinton had the no offense. Bigfoot doesn't show that. Bigfoot just comes out and they'll want to play power football too. So should be a game, probably one in the trenches, I would think.
Yep. Not a whole lot of playoff scenarios on the line. I think Clinton needs to win just to solidify for sure that they'll be in. It's all about titles in Week 9. We'll take that.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, play for seedings, and that's about it. But when you play for a conference title, that's why you sign up in the middle of August to play, is to try to win a conference title.
We'll see how it shakes out on Friday night. Follow us along at GazetteExtra.com for all the updates. We'll try to update you on the playoff pods and brackets as fast as we can as those things come along. And we'll probably see you back here to kick off a playoff show a week from today.
See you next week, everybody.